Start with the football. John Lakeman is their quarterback. Lakeman with 1,101 yards so far this season has struggled out of the gate, but has seen improvement, marked improvement over his last couple of outings. Hand off to start the night to Saren Storm, who's been a little quiet over the last couple of weeks. He picks up 2. For those of you just joining us late, apologies. We were live on our channel, but not necessarily where you thought we were going to be. Carolina went 3 and out on their opening drive, and Storm picks up 2 right there. So Lakeman now on a 2nd down and 8. Lakeman drops to throw all kinds of time. Lakeman going to scramble and pick up 6 to set up a 3rd down and 2. Running quarterbacks this week, Charles, have been all the rage.
Yeah, it seems like, and every time we do a game, it's maybe to the extreme, but that was good downfield coverage by the Carolina secondary.
If you want to see what happened on the opening drive, it is on our channel. We were just sending to the wrong link. Our apologies. But definitely happened. You can go back and take a look at that. That's a 1st down for John Lakeman. Hits Xavier Solomon over the middle. First move of the chains tonight.
And that's what John Lakeman needs to do. Just stay in the pocket, let the route develop, and let those offensive linemen, those 5 offensive linemen that they have on the roster, let them protect them. And on that play, had plenty of time, even though they sent the blitz on Carolina.
Benjamin Warner goes in motion. Warner is the team's leading receiver with 27 targets, or 27 receptions rather. Saren Storm will pick up 1 on his 2nd carry, and it looks like Charleston has kind of retooled its backfield a little bit, Charles. We've seen Honus Adobe back there, a lot of Terrell Sutherland in recent weeks, but yeah, Saren Storm getting some reps tonight.
And they've got 4 quality players in that backfield, so I think they'll be okay with whoever they pick.
It's a busy backfield, and it's tough to feed everybody. Charleston's doing a pretty good job of that this season. That pass is caught, hauled in by Solomon, who's been an early target for John Lakeman. Just 11 catches and a touchdown on the season, but already 2 on this opening drive.
Yeah, and so far early in this game, Cam, the offensive line for the Predators is giving Lakeman plenty of time. They sent 2 players on Carolina for the blitz on that time. And again, perfect blocking, perfect protection, plenty of time in the pocket for Lakeman to do what he needs to do.
It looked like Anthony Robertson in coverage, the defensive end dropping back, and was had a little bit of a mismatch against the tight end, trying to defend the pass out there. Charleston in pretty good shape. Adobe goes in motion, 6.5 to go in the 1st quarter, as Lakeman's pass is once again quickly hauled in by Warner. Just a 3-step passing game for the Preds, picks up 8.
Yeah, and Lakeman is very comfortable in that pocket so far, and Carolina has to dial up something to throw him off.
Second and 2. Hand off. Hoagland has a 1st down, breaks a tackle. Hoagland picks up a block and then drags Tristan Hatley all the way down to the 21-yard line. And the boys in their all-whites at home tonight are cooking on the opening drive.
And more kudos to the offensive line of the Predators. I mean, we've seen what they can do for pass protection on that run play right there. Perfect blocking as well.
5:50 to go in the 1st quarter. Prasad showing a blitz. Can't get there. Pass in real tight coverage.
Holy
Davidson
smokes.
Joseph all over Ben Warner. Didn't matter.
Lakeman is on fire. I mean, it does wonders, to a quarterback confidence when you have as much protection that offensive line is dishing out. I mean, again, Carolina's got to dial something up, figure some way to throw them off.
Charleston going to work here in the opening quarter. One receiver top of the screen, 2 in the backfield, including Brad Taylor Wright lined up at the fullback spot. Toss, Hoagland is going to surge ahead and nearly got a touchdown. Hoagland with 4 this season for Charleston. That's their leader.
Yeah, and he's leader in touchdowns as well as yards per carry. On that play, I thought he was going to get nailed in the backfield, but just shows you the strength that Hoagland has.
Hoagland quietly 9th in the league in yards per carry, 4.5. A pretty good season. Handoff, Saren Storm, first touchdown of the season for Saren Storm, and Charleston scores on their opening drive.
That was an impressive drive. I mean, it wasn't too flashy, but it was effective. And I think most of the credit should go to the line. They're on fire, and they're really dictating terms here. And the defensive line and the linebackers for Carolina, they have, when they get to that sideline, they need to figure something out.
Extra point coming up for the Preds. The kicker, Brad Brechet, perfect 9 for 9 this season on field goals, along with 45. Of course, has not missed an extra point either. The extra point is up and good. 10-play, 68-yard drive after Carolina went 3 and out on their opening possession. Both Prasad and McBride got a carry. And South looked for Quintero down the field, but Charleston's secondary all over it.
The wise coach and owner of Carolina, Harish Prasad, gave me a note before the game saying that his goal was to outscore his opponent tonight. So a lot of thought went into that. I appreciate it.
Always the jokester. Love the Prasads as Bachikalupi gets it up to the 28-yard line. If our data is correct, Charles, Carolina has forced 3 turnovers this season. That's last in the league. That can't be right. That is a crazy stat as Charleston tries to keep their turnovers down tonight. 13 interceptions this season.
Yeah, I'm just looking. They have 4 interceptions, I think, for their starters. Actually, more than that. 5.
Yeah, you're right. That may. Well, handoff to Ike McBride, picks up 5. That's well, anyway, 5-yard pickup.
This gives you something to ponder, Cam.
Yeah, I got a lot of that going on. 2nd and 5. Ike McBride picks up 5. It's her best run of the night so far. Prasad takes the handoff, but cannot get away as many members in the backfield for the Preds. Dan Dash was first to get there. He is having a heck of a season on the line. Jacob Clear with the tackle.
Yeah, he is definitely a threat on the outside. 6 sacks this season so far, and he wants to get some more tonight.
There's 3 interceptions for Carolina's defense this season. Danny Stinson, Davidson Joseph, and Amon Eaglin each with 1. That's what we were looking at earlier. South back to pass, picked off, intercepted by Charleston. That is picked off by Jacob Clear. This is not the start the Skyhawks were hoping for.
Not at all. I mean, Carolina has to figure something out here and maybe rely more on some short, medium passes for the quarterback and some straight up the gut runs. Charleston's just playing out of lights out so far.
Charleston's won 2 in a row in recent weeks. Los Angeles, and then of course here last week they got that monstrous 21-10 win over Seattle. That's their first win of the season against a team with a winning record. But 3 of their first 4 losses were by 4 points or less, including an overtime loss to the still unbeaten Florida Storm. This Charleston team is playing their best ball right now. That blitz is picked up, and Lakeman's pass is caught by Reed. Reed down to the 19-yard line before being corralled by Carolina's Skippy Curtis. What a blitz pickup.
Yeah, just at the last minute, I thought Skippy was going to hit the quarterback, but the offensive lineman distracted her.
Reed got away from Hatley. And Charleston wants this game. Their next 2 games are against Houston and Fort Worth, a pair of 5-2 teams out of the South. So Charleston doesn't want to have to be playing catch-up with those 2 teams left on their schedule trying to get a big win tonight, and so far they are playing ball. Lakeman against a 4-man rush. That pass is caught. There's a late flag. Are they throwing a face mask on that? A personal foul face mask. Wow. That is a huge penalty.
The receiver's head did a 360, so.
Thought he got him by the shoulder, but I guess not. Chris Delro called for the infraction. That's just rude since he put the $5 super chat in the SFL this week. What's up with that? Well, that just proves I can't be bribed, I guess. 1st and goal at the 7. Lakeman in zone, picked off. Tristan Hatley. We were just talking about it. Just the 4th interception by this defense this season. And wow, Hatley saves a potential 14-0 hole early.
And they needed that so bad. And great defense by Carolina. I think if Charleston would have just stuck with the run play and the short dumps, I think we would have been looking at a different story here. But they rolled the dice and they paid for it.
Now, will the Skyhawks be able to get some offense moving? No first down so far tonight. Matt South still looking for his first completion. Hattori Hanzo goes in motion. Handoff, McBride cuts it back middle, gets a stiff arm.
Wow.
McBride is gang tackled after getting through the first line of defense. That is Jack Brown and Corey Menner with the combo stop.
I'm sure they were doing extra tackling practice this week on the Charleston side to bring down Ike McBride, but it's one thing practicing and it's another game time.
Skyhawk offense features Matt South, Maurice Prasad, Ike McBride, Hattori Hanzo, Chase Earl, Riley Quintero, Chris Curtis, Christian Bacigalupi, Vince DeSantis, Kate Palmer, Riggy Riccatoni, and Chris Cross. Prasad almost got the stiff arm out there, but Jacob Clear wins the better of the matchup, 3rd and 2.
A big 3rd and 2 for Carolina. They got to capitalize on that turnover, put some points on the board, and help the momentum swing to Carolina's side. .203 to go in the first quarter. Trying to stay on the field. Ike McBride is short. No, they gave it to her. I think there's a challenge. Wow, I don't know about that.
Let's see. Yep, there's Clear. Not happy about that.
Yeah, Cam, on those plays where they're lining up in the split backfield, I don't know if there's enough time for the running back, especially on the short yardage situation, to get over when they have extra men on the line to be able to get a positive gain.
Yeah, and you could see McBride kind of got hung up. Jack Brown was causing some disruption on the. That's not even close. I would be shocked if that play stood. That's your retroactive look at the play presented by Retroid. Get your SFL console, GoRetroid.com. And the ruling is overturned. And Charleston's going to get a stop.
Yeah, that was too easy to call.
I think Coach Clear was probably like, "Are you serious? You're going to make me throw this right now?" So punt for Carolina. They get nothing off the turnover. They don't even get a first down off it. That is disappointing for the Skyhawks. From the 28, and a lot of room to return the kick. All the way up to the 35-yard line. That's Ian Francis on the return. We'll set up Charleston with some decent field position. Let's see if
Charleston goes back to what put butter on the bread from that first possession they had. Just running the ball between their 4 studs in the backfield and some conservative pass plays. They move down the field at ease. Don't roll the dice at this point.
1st and 10 on the 35. Back to work is John Lakeman, who's 5 for 6 for 55 yards to start. That only incompletion, that interception in the end zone. Benjamin Warner goes in motion. Lakeman to throw. Lakeman fires. That pass caught at the 42-yard line. Davius Reed Reed, Warner, Solomon, all with 2 catches in the first quarter.
That was an impressive route run by Reed, and also good timing by Lakeman. That type of route, you really got to throw it at the just the right time, because the closing speed of the Carolina defenders they're very quick, and that play can get shut down if you wait too long.
Second and short. Hand off. Look at the lane. Nick Hoagland on first down. You know, Charleston throwing on first down a lot, Charles, to set up second and short, whereas Carolina has been in second and third and long a lot here early.
And again, a huge hole for Hoagland to run up. I mean, the offensive line, again, gold stars for them so far.
Carolina 0 for 4 on third downs to start the night, and the storyline was the opposite of that. Charleston struggles on third down, but they haven't really been in a whole lot of third downs tonight so far, as Warner had a couple of chances at that but couldn't haul it in.
And on that play, the pocket broke down pretty quickly, and it shows, if you get some pressure on Lakeman, it's not gonna be easy sailing like that first series.
Second and 10. Lakeman drops back to throw, and I think Reed's going to want that one back. He just kind of misjudged where that ball was going to be. First third and long of the night for Charleston.
And I think also Carolina made a couple adjustments on defense. They're settled down a little bit, and so far they're holding their own.
Third and 10. Carolina trying to get off the field. Stop the drive. Lakeman. Clean pocket again. Lakeman down the field. Caught by Warner. First down into field goal range.
That's just crazy. I mean, he had all the time in the world, and that route took a while to develop. So another tip of the cap to the offensive line of Charleston.
DeBrickashaw, Molyneux, Perrin, Ibarra, Leroy James, Finley James, and St. Nebuchadnezzar up front, along with a very talented offense that includes John Lakeman, Saren Storm, Nick Hoagland, Terrell Sutherland, Brad Taylor-Wright, Honus Adobe, Ian Francis, Breddington James, Davius Reed, Leon Warner, Leon Sandcastle, Benjamin Warner, Leon Sandcastle, and Xavier Solomon. I almost made it through. 7-yard pickup to Solomon again, his third catch. And that's the end of the quarter. Wow, fast-moving quarter. Charleston's on the move again. Can Carolina get another red zone stop? You're watching the Monday Night Spectacular of Week 8, Season 22 on SFL YouTube.
Lakeman, with the exception of that one mistake he made, that interception, I mean, he's at a 72.7 completion percentage. So I think they've got the right plays in there for him. They just need to, don't forget the run game.
Carolina is 10th in the SFL with 10 sacks, 3 apiece for Levant Irvine and Christopher Colon, but they have gotten no pressure on Lakeman so far tonight. Hoagland is dumped by Hatley, but not before he gets inside the 10-yard line on his 4th carry. He's over 30 yards.
I think it's clear. It should be clear for Charleston what they need to do. I mean, that blocking up front for the running is just incredible. I would just keep handing it off until they are able to, the Carolina players are able to stop it.
High formation here for Charleston. Draw.
There you go.
There for Storm, and I was Trevin Prasad and his teammates with the TFL.
Carolina did what they needed to do. I mean, that's the play they need to build on.
Just joining us, Charleston in their all whites tonight at home. Carolina wearing the darker color on the road. Rare to see, but it looks good out there tonight as Saren Storm picks up a couple more. Big 3rd and goal coming up.
And now I think they're limited on what they can do here. They're going to have to throw it in the end zone, and that's going to be tough because Carolina's loaded in that secondary, and there's not a lot of room to work with if you have complex routes that you're going to run.
3rd and goal. Heavy up front. It's like a mismatch at the bottom of the screen. That's where Lakeman's rolling out. I don't know if Carolina's going to get enough defenders there. And Lakeman overthrew a receiver who looked open in the back of the end zone, getting consoled by Terrell Sutherland. He's going to want that one back.
Yeah, let's see this on the replay.
Wow.
Yeah, he had it wide open.
2 guys. I mean, Warner wasn't even looking.
That was a flood in that section of the field.
I mean, perfect play call, right, Charles? I mean, Carolina was overloaded weak side, and I thought for sure that was going to be an easy touchdown for Lakeman, but by far his worst throw of the night. Will bring on Brad Bretchett for a 21-yard field goal. That chip shot is good with the wind moving right to left in the stadium tonight. 11-play, 61-yard drive, but Carolina's got to be breathing a sigh of relief after the way that drive ended.
Definitely. I mean, they've. I mean, I wouldn't call it a big win for them, but they stopped them from putting 7. That would have been a pretty deep hole. Not insurmountable, but it would have been a pretty deep hole.
Double-digit lead for Charleston. The last 4 meetings in this rivalry game have ended in double-digit victories. Both teams have 2 apiece. Last time that this game was razor tight, Carolina beat Charleston in this building 20-14 back on October 9th of 2022. And a couple more tidbits on the matchup, Charles. These 2 teams met in Week 8 last season, too. Previously had never met in Week 8. First and 10 at the 20. And off, Ike McBride. Oh, I thought McBride was going to get some forward momentum, but instead, her run was shut down by Sam Blotner.
Yeah, Sam Blotner, I thought, to your point, I thought she was going to get at least, 5 yards on that one, but Blotner shut it down.
10-0 Charleston. Matt South still has not completed a pass. And Carolina still looking for a first down. Handoff to Harish Prasad, 3rd and 3. They are just running the heck out of this ball tonight.
Yep, and, they could possibly run it again here on 3rd down. They've got plenty of options on 3rd and short.
They do not want to mess with this Charleston secondary. 5th in the league with 11 interceptions. 3rd and 3. Handoff McBride. Got a first down. Good blocking on the outside. Kate Palmer and one other was out there to spring Ike for a first down.
Yeah, that was a big, big first down for Carolina. They needed that. They got to walk away with something on the board here by the end of the second.
$7:23 to go in a fast-moving first half. Matt South's pass is incomplete. Looking immediately for Chase Earl, who was well covered.
Ooh. Yeah, it looked like there were 4 defenders around the receiver on that one.
South 0 for 3. They have to find something eventually in the passing game. 3 different players targeted. Chris Curtis without a target is 1 touchdown away from tying Ken Gossett for 10th all-time. That is a completion. Vince DeSantis with the catch for 6 to make it a more manageable 3rd down.
And DeSantis is a threat as well. I mean, he's deadly on those short medium routes. This is a perfect time to throw back to him.
3rd and 4. 7 in the box for Charleston. South to throw. South, far sideline, caught. Christian Bachagalupi up the sideline, past midfield. What a dot from South.
It's great. It looks like the offense of Carolina is starting to feel what they need to do. I mean, that was a huge play right there. Smart play calling. Don't roll the dice. Find the open man and just move it down the field.
Jack Brown leads the team in tackles with 49, but it's Sam Blotner so far tonight who's got the most stops with 3. just wrapped up Bacigalupi on that play. Handoff to McBride. Won't get much of anything. Taken down by Gino McFly, his third tackle.
And Gino McFly was right there. I mean, I didn't think Ike McBride was expecting the linebacker to be standing there staring at her right when she came out of the backfield.
2nd and 10. Handoff, McBride. McBride trying to get outside. And this Preds defense is quick. Blotner again. 3rd and 9 coming up.
Yeah, you really got to get that ball and have a quick first step for that cross route to work against the likes of Charleston. They're so fast, like you said.
.5:45 to go in the first half. Play fake. South in trouble. Jack Brown hit him and nearly threw an interception. Blotner with the pass breakup, but Brown was coming in, not fooled by the play action, and Carolina's drive will stall.
And Jack Brown is a beast. Almost had a sack, avoided that. Almost had an interception, avoided that as well. So I guess they dodged the bullet in some way, but I'm sure they still wanted to have the ball.
Brown 2 sacks this season, has 14 for his career. And has been a ball hawk his entire 14-season career, a 5-time All-Star. Last made it in season 18, but he's towards the top of TFLs and trying to put together an All-Star campaign. So far, so good this season. Charleston's ball on the 20.
Now's the time, right time in the game, Cam, to see some fullback action.
Yeah, nothing so far from Sutherland or Wright. I'm with you, Charles. Toss play, Storm. Going to get a fullback block there and pick up 4 yards. 95 viewers and counting, not even to halftime. Charles, you continue to bring in the ratings.
It's the halftime show and the fashion. I mean, seriously. It's causing quite the buzz.
You are so funny. What color is Tyler going to wear tonight? You have any predictions on that, Charles? Got any money down on that?
I think he's going to wear a pink flat cap.
Wow, a pink flat cap. That'd be something. Nick Hoagland
and
with
a pink
the carry.
bow tie.
A pink bow tie?
Yep.
All right. I don't think Tyler's listening right now, but if he is, he's probably throwing everything out of his closet going, where is it? Where is it? 3rd and 3. One receiver to the top of the screen. Lakeman fires that way. Thought it may have been picked, but Warner ends up hauling it in. That was Mojo McClain out in coverage there in the flat. Just couldn't get his head turned.
The offensive coordinator for Charleston is really doing a huge favor for Lakeman. I mean, those routes, nice safety routes there for a blitz. They sent a blitz by Carolina, and he knew where to dump it off to.
Handoff Storm. Not much room there. For Charles, we may get to go to dinner before this game is over. This thing, this thing is blazing speed right now.
You can get that ice cream sandwich you were talking about in the pregame.
Yeah, I think they close at 10, so, we got to get a move on. 2nd and 9. Lakeman drops it off, and Storm is clocked right at the line of scrimmage. Wow. What a hit. He's slow to get up, too. Wow.
That was a hit. I didn't get the number of that truck that hit him, but good defense by Carolina.
I think if you just call 4s, 4-4-4, 4-4-4, I think you get somebody for that. 3rd and 8. 3:20 to go. Adobe goes in motion. 4 catches already for Warner for 56 yards. Lakeman's over 100. Lakeman back to pass. Again, a clean pocket and an overthrow. Another misfire down the field for Lakeman will set up a 4th down.
Yeah, good coverage downfield by Carolina. They didn't send an extra a blitzer on that play. Plenty of time for Lakeman to go through, but I think he just put a little too much power onto that pass.
Lakeman shaking off that interception in the end zone, but only one pass over 10 yards as he hasn't necessarily found his targets down the field. They're going to let this punt go. Can the Gunners get down there in time? No, it's going to roll into the end zone. Wow. I thought it was going to stop at about the half-yard line. Whew.
This is the time. Carolina hasn't shown it yet on offense, but we need a long, sustained drive on this play. I don't think they've had anything over about 30 yards in their possession so far tonight.
Yeah, it's 47 total yards and 2 first downs in this half. Got it going a little bit on the last drive, but Charleston only 10 points to show for it. Keeping Carolina in the game as Matt South delivers to Chris Curtis his first catch up to the 35-yard line.
Yeah, well done by Matt South. They sent the blitz in, and he stood in there like the veteran he is and just put off a nice pass to Curtis.
I think he's been working out, man. That took a lot of strength to shake off that coverage there. Corey Menner.
He's not eating ice cream sandwiches.
What are you trying to say? Vince DeSantis picks up 5.
Don't read into that, man. Don't read into it.
2nd and 5 coming up.
As reliable as DeSantis, I mean, he's a killer on those short routes.
Coming up, the APM Music halftime report. Curtis and Tyler have a recap of the first half. Who has the better shot at making the playoffs, Charleston or Carolina? Surprises and disappointments through week 8. All that and more coming up on the APM Music halftime report as McBride gets blown up by Sam Blotner. 6th tackle tonight for the big fella.
Yeah, Blotner's been putting out some hard hits tonight, and doing that against Ike McBride is pretty impressive.
2-minute warning. We are rolling. Charleston 10, Carolina nothing. Skyhawks trying to put together a drive for the end of the half. You're watching Season 22, Week 8, Monday Night Spectacular on SFL YouTube. And Ike McBride from the stat truck says, ouch. Three receivers for Carolina. South back to pass and nearly threw an interception. That was Stamango, who was featured on X's and O's with Mike O'Neill along with Adam Nold on the coverage, and they're going to have to punt again.
They had the receivers of Carolina blanketed on that one. I mean, good defense there.
Got to give it up to Sam Blotner, not only on the field but off the field tonight. He's been designing all the Charleston uniforms this season, and really good. They definitely needed an identity from last season, and they have found it, as that punt will be fair caught at the 32-yard line by Francis. Lakeman back to work.
That's one of my off-season goals is to learn how to do that.
Yeah, I'm a stadium man myself, but not, uniforms. That takes some special skill.
All right,
box here for Carolina, man. They're bringing everybody. Saren Storm is almost going to run past everybody. Joseph has to tackle him from behind after a pickup of 8 yards. Interesting setup there from Carolina's defense, trying to force a turnover.
Yeah, I've said it before. I think Charleston knows what the key here is to stay on top, and it's just handing it off to one of those 4 guys in the backfield.
14 carries for a combined 60 yards in the first half before Hoagland just picked up that first down. Charleston playing it safe, protecting a 10-point lead. This team doesn't find themselves in a lot of shootouts, Charles.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're executing very well. I mean, that one interception, maybe an overthrown pass here or there, but all in all, they've had a pretty solid first half.
One time this season has an opponent or Charleston scored over 23 points in a game. I like to keep these things low scoring. 10-0 Preds. Lakeman on a counter. Gets it off to Saren Storm, and he's met at the line. Wrapped up by Ibari Aman Eaglin, 5th tackle tonight, tied for the team lead with Hatley.
I'm surprised that last name fits on the jersey. Is a big last name.
Well, how about Nebuchadnezzar on the offensive line for Charleston?
I just love the fact that you have to pronounce Nebuchadnezzar.
2nd and 10, 32 seconds to go. Charleston, maybe they get aggressive here. Call a timeout. Lakeman down the field. Caught. They won't need a time. Oh, Reed going to break a tackle. Get down to the 39-yard line. And Charleston will burn that timeout. Reed getting some extra yards, surprisingly, at the end of that play.
And that was a surprising play, but hey, they executed it well. Got a good gain there and had to call timeout because there's still some life in this drive.
41 yards for Reed, just outside of field goal range. Lakeman back to throw, and the off-target pass is going to force them to burn their second timeout. I think Solomon could have gotten out of bounds if that was on target.
Yeah, the kicker for the Predators, Brachette, has got a pretty powerful leg, so they're knocking on the door there for field goal range.
The longest season of 45 would mean they need to get to the 28, which is about 10
where the
yards.
First down mark is.
Yep, about 9 yards down the field. Solomon in motion with 4 catches. Again, only had 11 coming into the game. Lakeman setting up a screen. Oh, it just missed. Ian Francis. That was a great play call, but another misfire.
I think Francis turned his head around too late.
Yep.
I mean, I got rid of the ball perfectly, the right time, but I don't think the wide receiver was ready for it.
That pressure may have gotten there a little bit too early on Lakeman. Now 12 of 18. 14 seconds left in 1 timeout. Got to try and get into field goal range. Lakeman handing off to Hoagland, hoping he can get there. And I don't think he did. Don't mind the play call there, just trying to get into range, but good stop from Carolina.
Yeah, I think there are not a lot of options for them at this point. Either, run the clock out, or I think you're going to have to, get it on the sideline so they can step out of bounds. It has to be a quick execution.
They're going to kick it.
Oh, wow.
Charles.
They're going for it.
This should be the second longest made field goal in the SFL this season. 52 yards. They're going to fake it. They're going to fake it and then try to run it, and he did not get it. The quarterback tried to scramble with it. Carolina blows up that play, and they'll get the football back.
Well, they've got something positive to take into the locker room at halftime. That was well defended.
I mean, it fooled me.
Me too. I thought they were going to pass, and they lined up in field goal.
Well, Matt South will have a chance for a Hail Mary before Chris Curtis and Tyler Falk take over. Charleston not attempting the field. Oh, they're pit wide open. Chase Earl dropped it. There's 1 second left. Oh, man, he could have gone.
I know. That was close. I held my breath on that one. Holy smokes.
Or at least could have gotten
hit
down.
him in the hands.
Yeah. They could have called a timeout there and set themselves up for something, but missed opportunity. South now just 4 for 10. South again down the field, this time not as open. That pass knocked away by Stamengo. And that is the end of the first half. Not a whole lot of offense. Charleston playing some pretty good football out there. The lead could be more without the Tristan Hatley interception. We got a low-scoring, knockdown, drag-out fight, 10-0. Charles, your thoughts on the first half?
I mean, not a lot negative to say about Charleston. I mean, they didn't put a ton of points on the board, but didn't make a lot of mistakes, played really well on both sides of the ball. That offensive line, I can't stop talking about the job that they're doing, protecting the quarterback for the passing plays as well as opening up those holes for the running game. Carolina had something positive going into halftime to build on. I think they need to make some adjustments, figure out a way to disrupt the quarterback, Lakeman, and come up with some plays where they can get some sustained drives.
The good news for Carolina, they're only down 10. The bad news is they have not figured out Nick Hoagland on the ground game. Tristan Hatley, your player of the half. Don't often see that, but kudos to Tristan for that game-changing interception, keeping Carolina in it. 10-0. Charleston leads the Skyhawks. We'll send it to our SFL studios. For the APM Music Halftime Report, Tyler Falk and Chris Curtis coming up next.
Halftime at the Corbin Cup. It's a 10-0 lead for the Charleston Predators over the Carolina Skyhawks. Chris Curtis along with Tyler Falk in the SFL studios. Tyler, not a very offensive showing by really either of these rosters. You feel like one of these teams, like next score, seems super important in this game as Carolina tries to find their footing and Charleston tries to maintain it.
Next score, next little piece of momentum. It's been so crucial, especially this past weekend in the SFL, maintaining it and trying to control it. And we saw Carolina, I think more of the mistakes for the Skyhawks is Matt South just overthrowing or underthrowing his receivers rather than this defense making a few plays. Only 3 deflections on 11 passing attempts for Matt South. So you got to look at just how inaccurate he's been. And maybe it's these confines here in Charleston. Maybe it's Robert Small Memorial that's really throwing him off, but something about tonight playing in this rivalry game just has him a little irked. But he has to come out and change things around in the second half. This entire Carolina squad does, if they even want to try and make a game of this, make a true rivalry game of this, and break this long-standing run of double-digit games between these two clubs.
Yep. Charleston playing very well these last couple of weeks, and they continue things here. They maintain a bit of momentum in the first half of this one. They get a couple of stops right in a row, the 3 and out to start the game when Carolina's coming out, hit their hair on fire trying to do something, and has been playing really well. On Carolina's side, the thing they've been not doing today that they've been doing fairly well in their wins this season, their short to intermediate passing game has been non-existent. It's either been boom or bust downfield, and the rest of them have been runs to Ike and Harish. Would you agree that the intermediate passing game needs to be their key in the second half?
I think so. Just start with a couple of drive starters. It doesn't have to be too incredibly, methodical, too incredibly ingenuitive. Doesn't have to be so crazy, but something simple. Some simple passes that are to get Matt South back in a rhythm and get Chase Earl and Riley Cotero back in this game. 2 of their best wide receivers. Sorry, Curtis, but
no,
two of your best wide receivers for Carolina just 6 targets, no completions. This is not how you win a football game. If you want to keep your offense in the game, you got to get your star players going, and Carolina needs to find ways to incorporate that. They haven't done so tonight, and that's why they haven't done it on the scoreboard.
4 for 11 Matt South is in the first half, looking to try to improve that in the second half. Lakeman, though, on the other side, over 100 yards passing already. On the futures side of things, there's always a rivalry when it comes to the Corbin Cup. You have Charleston, you have Carolina. This hypothetical Corbin Cup has been in the works for many years now. My question to you in relation to season 22, of those 2 teams, both of them at 2 and 4, who has the better chance to turn it around? And don't include present company. I want to know what your opinion is, regardless of who you're talking to.
Well, right now, to me, it really depends on who wins this game. I think whoever wins this game has a really good shot, because you look at Charleston. Yes, they're on a 2-game winning streak, and they took down Seattle in a really unconventional fashion, and they've had some really close games. So I would already be leading Charleston. But at the same time, you look at Carolina, who's had a much tougher strength of schedule, a much tougher group of opponents, and really Charleston's second half of the schedule is really going to be tough. They got Houston, Fort Worth, Queen City, and Minnesota still yet to play on that schedule, where Carolina, they've really got to get things going. It has to start tonight, because their next 4 games are Portland, Jacksonville, Louisiana, Motor City. Games that if you're a playoff team, you have to win. And so if Carolina is truly a second half team, they have to contain that energy and possess that energy for the second half of this season. It can't be just in individual games. It has to be this entire half of the season. It has to start tonight. Whoever wins tonight has a better shot at the playoffs.
I like it. And then when we look at the rest of the league, let's touch base on where your brain power is at in relation to surprises and disappointments. Let's start first with the surprises. You can name as many as you'd like, well, up to 2. So let's do up to 2. If you have less than that, that's fine.
Well, I want to start off with Mexico City and Mike Daggs, who just took Fort Worth to task and really made that a great game, a game that I have to go back and watch and really dissect, because again, really fantastic game called by Mike Daggs in Mexico City. Fort Worth did an incredible job to come away with the victory in the end, but for Mexico City, who for so long last season looked like they were swimming upstream without a paddle and really trying to find themselves, it's a much better turnaround. Everyone in Mexico City should be pleased with their performance this season. And I also have to give a nice little surprise for Minnesota, who have really turned things around after last season. Yes, they won the Central Division, but it was the entire Central Division last season, which ended 4-8. Now they sit at 6-1. They look much better. They look like the Minnesota we saw a few seasons ago when they were just starting out. Little hiccup last season, but now they're still competing. They're leading the Central right now, and they're really putting some pressure on Arizona, now 2 games behind.
I like it. And then you take a look at the playoff picture there, and you see Canton and Florida, your top 2, as is deserved. And then Minnesota is in that 3 spot along with Fort Worth. And you mentioned Fort Worth. That's a team that Charleston has in the very near future. That should be a one that is circled on the schedule for them. And then let's talk about those teams that may not necessarily be on that graphic that we just saw, the playoff chase. Your disappointments for season 22.
Right now, it has to be a disappointment and I think even the Baltimore folks will tell you, now tying their franchise record of most losses in a season with 4. They have never lost more than 4 games, and now you're looking at 5 games left to go on your schedule, and this is not the same Baltimore team. This is not the same all-conquering Vulture squad. DeWake is not waking up, and it's been really interesting to see how these teams have really come alive. The revenge game from Eddie Gage and the Arizona Scorpions yesterday really surprised me, that Baltimore wasn't able to kick through the larger deficit and finish 10 behind Arizona when they were so dominant, especially in those 2 championship games prior. It's a whole different era, and Baltimore's not being able to adapt so easily. Maybe another really disappointment. I really can't think of too many other teams that would be too much of a disappointment. I mean, right now, both Carolina and Charleston in general, just there's so much hype with these two teams, and they're just not able to fulfill that hype, fulfill that potential that their teams know, I know, and so many others outside their teams know they can do. We're hoping for better futures and better fortunes for these 2 clubs.
Fair enough. Well, we'll see which one gets the better of the matchup in the second half as we go forward. Right now, Charleston with a 10-0 lead, but there's a lot of football left to be played. 2 more quarters to go. Second half on the way. It's Cameron and Charles on the other side. This has been the APM Music Halftime Report.
All right. Thank you, Chris Curtis and Tyler Falk, the APA Music Halftime Report. Skippy Curtis is late with the sour cream, or maybe she's waiting. Maybe she's waiting for a potential Carolina touchdown opportunity. Who knows? But did that shirt do it for you, Charles? That was kind of pink. Depends on how you see color, I guess.
It was close.
I got to give him props for that.
Yeah, definitely.
Lakeman back to pass to start the half, and that is hauled in and caught by Warner to the 36-yard line. So wake up, Carolina. Charleston comes out guns a-blazing to start the third quarter.
That's a good play to open up with, Cam. You already got the defense, you kind of on their heels off that first play. And as I said at the end of the first half, I mean, Carolina's got to figure out some way to disrupt Lakeman.
Only 1 negative play in the game. 1 tackle for loss, so it's on Charleston's side. But Carolina, no TFLs, no sacks. Rush 4, Lakeman, time picked off! Picked off by Hatley, his 2nd of the night. First down to the 38-yard line.
Yep, ask and you shall receive. I mean, they did exactly what they needed to do with that interception. Now let's see what if that can put some momentum on the offense side.
Hatley with no interceptions in his first 6 games of this season, hauls in 2 in the first 21 minutes, and Carolina is back in business. Talking about what Tyler mentioned at the half, the winner of this game, probably the team most likely to win the playoffs. Carolina has never made the playoffs with 4 losses at this point in a season. Charleston made the playoffs after a 2-4 start last season. So they're kind of right back in familiar territory. Matt South drops the throw, dumps it off, and South completes it to Hanzo as Menor makes the stop.
Yeah, to the point you made, Cam, if Charleston wins this game, they still have a brutal schedule after this.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be an uphill climb. I mean, I think they've got the guns to do it, but it's going to be really tough.
It almost feels a little bit more important for Charleston because of that schedule. I mean, Carolina's schedule, 4 straight weeks coming up against teams with a losing record. They've got some opportunities. That pass is incomplete. Curtis was one-on-one with Menor, and South just had to get rid of it because Charleston was bringing the house.
Yeah, it was just a battle between the wide receiver and the defensive back, and on that one, the defensive back won.
South is 1 of his last 5 for 1 yard. 3rd and 9 at the Charleston 28. Predators changing the play, moving around. 5 wide receivers just outside of field goal range. Points are at a premium tonight. South's pass is caught by Earl. That may be enough to get him into field goal range, depending upon the wind. Ryan on the tackle.
I mean, I think that was the only option that Matt South had. And the offensive line, I've been bragging on Charleston offensive line all night, but Charleston's offensive line did a pretty good job of protecting the quarterback against that blitz.
And the Predators get a stop. Malone Brown's long is 48. This would have been from 49 yards away. Carolina willing to play some more defense. This punt almost fumbled there by Francis. Oh, gets it up to the 17-yard line. That is not what Carolina was looking for. Man, Charles, 2 interceptions, no points off turnovers. Brutal.
Yeah, that is brutal. I mean, especially, we're talking about playoffs. If playoffs teams capitalize on the other team's mistakes. So, I think both teams are, need to learn that and take it if they're going to go into the playoffs.
So Lakeman back under center, not being punished for his interception. Saren Storm breaks a tackle and picks up 14. Carolina's had no answer for this run game tonight.
And it's quite the luxury when you can run, almost, I'm not going to say at will, but as effectively as Charleston's been running tonight. That's quite the luxury to have.
First down and 10, 8 minutes to go in the third. 75 rushing yards now for the Preds to just 32 for Carolina. Carolina bringing some pressure, and it's effective. Incomplete pass now to 89 rushing yards for Charleston. Second down.
Yeah, again, I scratch my head why they don't just feed. I know they have to pass sometimes, not to be too one-dimensional, but man, that running game has been doing so well. I don't know why they don't just keep going to the well.
Hoagland 7 for 42, Storm 10 for 32. 18 runs, 22 passes now for Charleston's offense. Lakeman drops to throw. That pass caught by Reed. We'll get it to a more manageable third down. We talked in pregame about third down. Charleston, worst team in the SFL, but 3 for 6 tonight.
And Carolina needs to do something here. I mean, they've shown the ability to disrupt, like we talked about going into the half. Need a little bit more of that magic again.
3rd and 3. Handoff, Storm. What a terrific block. That was, I believe, Sutherland right in the middle of the field. Just springs Storm for a first down. That was incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it's all night. We've been talking about the blocking, and just another play where they've shown us, a textbook example of how to run block.
Christian Botchgalupi with a $2 super chat, third super chat on the live stream. Thanks, Christian. I'd say the first pick took 7 away from Charleston, and that's a good point. No points off turnovers, but if you're taking points off the board, that's a big thing too. Stinson with the stop.
And that was a big stop by Stinson. I mean, that's one of the positive plays for Carolina where they were able to shut down that run up the middle.
6.5 to go in the third. Lakeman, look at the time. Down
Crazy.
the field, and Sutherland
Oh,
couldn't haul it in.
Wow. Fullbacks aren't known to be outstanding wide receivers. I mean, there's a risk when you send them on those medium and deep routes, but wow. he had both mitts on it, I believe.
Now I know what Lakeman looks like sitting in a beach chair watching the waves go by. I mean, his jersey doesn't have a spot on it this evening. 3rd and 10. Best offensive line performance I've seen so far this season. Lakeman's pass is caught by Reed. First down to the 41.
That was perfect ball placement there. And again, I sound like a broken record. Good pass protection as well. Lakeman put the ball where only the wide receiver could catch it, right there off his shoulder.
So look at Lakeman's stats, 111 to the middle, 66 to either side. Pretty balanced. 6 to go in the third. Warner goes in motion. Reed, 6 catches, Warner 5. Lakeman to throw. All day. Lakeman down the field, incomplete. Warner looked like he stumbled a little bit. 2nd and 10.
He's also got that swing pass wide open. There was a defender about 20 yards deep. He could have just dished it off to the halfback and could have got at least 5 out of it.
Pass is caught for 8 yards by Xavier Solomon. His 4th grab, another critical 3rd down just outside of field goal range.
Those smart route running and play calling as well. You got to give Lakeman some options in those short drag routes. He's been killing it all day.
Halfway through the 3rd. Counter. Hoagland got it.
Nice.
First down. What a move in the trenches.
Yeah. Those counter plays are kind of hard to spot, but, man, you called it on that one, and I didn't think it was going to develop into anything, but nice execution by Hoagland.
Charleston being very methodical tonight. Looking for their 3rd straight win. Lakeman's pass caught by Reed. Reed turns around and got away from Hatley after ripping the ball away from him to pick up a first down.
And the strong safety, Barry, and then Eaglin had just closed it down. I thought the wide receiver was going to have a open route into the end zone after that move he made.
Hadley thought he may have had an interception, but Reed stepped right in front of him to take it away. 80 yards now on 7 receptions.
I don't know about you, Cam, but every time they go back to pass, I hold my breath.
Carolina secondary has been pretty frisky tonight. Almost as many interceptions as they've had all season, but it hasn't resulted in any points. 10-0. Lakeman to throw. Lakeman's pass is incomplete.
I thought he caught it. That would have been the catch of the game.
Yeah, ripped out at the last moment. Sutherland was the intended target.
Yeah, well, it's good to trust your fullback on those routes. I mean, It's tough. It's tough, and it's you got a lot of confidence sending your fullback on those deep routes.
Reed, back-to-back weeks, has been crushing it. 149 yards last week in the win against Seattle was his 4K23 career high. He's got 80 tonight. 2nd and 10, he goes in motion. Lakeman to throw. Lakeman fires, caught by Warner, wide open. 1st and goal at the 7.
Great play. Just at the last minute, did that shift inside against the coverage of Carolina. And about 10 yards around him, nobody was near.
Lakeman 18 of 29, not a bad night despite the 2 interceptions, 205 yards. 1st down and goal now as Storm will be thrown back. 2nd and goal. This wild stat, 18-3, 19-3 in 1st downs in this game.
And this is a big stand for Carolina defense.
3:25 to go in the 3rd. The game continues to evaporate for the Skyhawks, who have not been on the field much tonight offensively. Counter, Hoagland, inside the 5, down to the 4, 3rd and goal.
I think that it wasn't a crazy run, but I think that little step that Hoagland made in the backfield allowed him to get at least 3 or 4 additional yards on that carry.
Trying to keep it to a 2-score game. Hoagland in the backfield. Lakeman go to throw. Lakeman one-on-one coverage, caught! Touchdown, Davius Reed! He stole that right out of the sky.
That was perfect placement by Lakeman on this. Can't wait to see the replay. I think the defender might have had his back turned to the ball.
Oh!
Yeah, didn't see it coming. That place was crazy.
Oh my gosh. That was unbelievable. Hatley wasn't even looking. That's the nice hands catch brought to you by Retroid. Put a Retroid handheld in your hands and play the only video game with your player in it. SFL 4K23. That was a great camera angle on that, Charles, and good eye by you just from the start. I mean, just fed that into the smallest of windows. Look at that drive. 16 plays, and Charleston all over it now.
I mean, that's like, when you're playing with the quarterback and wide receiver for so long, you have that, what's the word? It's like you can think each other's thoughts. I mean, he knew exactly where to put that ball. I know it wasn't diagrammed that way.
Is that called telepathy, Charles? Is that what that is?
Yeah, I'll go with that one. Ice cream sandwich for you, sir.
People are going to flame me in the chat if it's not. By the way, before that touchdown, Charleston was 0-20 in franchise history when scoring 10 points or less. So they have avoided that potential pitfall with that score.
Yeah, this is like every time now that Carolina, I hate to put too much pressure on, but every time they get the ball on offense, I think they're going to need to capitalize.
Yeah, you got to get a score right here. South is 6 of 14 for 43 yards, averaging 3 yards an attempt tonight. Charleston brings some pressure. Dump off to Hanzo. Hanzo's got some space, but quickly closed down by Mark Martin, his first tackle, as Carolina picks up 3.
That's a good play call on 1st down. I mean, it's safe. You get to build some momentum and some confidence in your game, and Hanzo's a good person to give the ball to.
Handoff, McBride, and cannot find much room at all. 3rd down and 1. McBride's updated numbers are 10 for 22. 10 for 23, rather.
I think now's the time, Cam, for the rollout time. Let's see if they do it. I don't know if they ran a rollout at all tonight. I think, did they run one or was it Charleston? I can't remember.
Charleston had that 3rd and goal wide open.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I haven't seen a lot of it tonight. We'll hand it off to Prasad. Prasad's got the 1st down, the 4th of the game for Carolina. Gets it up to the 39. I don't think Carolina has to be in too big of a hurry. Just got to put together a drive. However, it's if they can get some points on the board, that defense can't allow another 16-play drive or this thing's over.
Yeah, I mean, the defense is, at this point in the game, the defense is going to start getting winded with as much time as they've been on the field.
57 total plays for Charleston, 35 for Carolina. 1:23 to go in the third quarter. South again facing some pressure. South off his back foot. That pass is caught for a 4-yard gain. A lot of work for 4 yards. Quintero with his first catch of the night, Charles.
Yeah, I think Charleston smelled blood on that one. The Sharks were circling. Good job for Matt South getting rid of that ball.
Quintero, 8th in the SFL in receptions with 34, but just his first on the night.
I should have said Orcas game, sorry.
What'd you say before?
I said Sharks. I knew I was going to get corrected. It came out of my mouth. I wish I could have pulled it back.
I've been there. I was there in
Holy
pregame.
smokes.
3rd and 1. Carolina's going to challenge. I don't look fine to me, but at this point, Coach Prasad a little desperate. We're back to the booth. Let's take a retroactive look at the play presented by Retroid. Get your SFL console. Go Retroid.com. Let's see if Prasad's got a case.
I don't think so. I guess the best thing at this point is that they move the ball up a little bit.
That's true.
So that they don't lose the timeout.
Yep. That's what's going to happen. Good call, Charles. You're going to move the ball up a little bit.
That's the one thing I got right all night.
So, not a first down, but it. They don't even mark it 3rd and inches, Charles. They moved it about 3 inches, but hey, he didn't get the timeout called, so there you go.
I think Harish just said, just leave the ball where it is.
I was reading his lips. I think you're right. 3rd and 1. That's what it's been tonight for Carolina. Fighting for every inch instead of every yard is what it feels like. Handoff, McBride.
Nice play.
McBride got a block. First down to the Charleston 44. Good news for the Skyhawks is they're getting their run game going.
Yeah, at the right time, too. I mean, they've shown an ability to run off the edge there. Good blocking as well.
Alonzo. .107. Now for Carolina's offense. Split evenly pass and run. South back to throw. Caught. Wow. Best pass of the night for Matt South. Vince DeSantis with his 3rd grab leads the team tonight.
I keep saying it. DeSantis on those short, medium routes is money. Look for that man on every pass play.
Can Carolina get another playoff before the quarter? Doesn't look like they are. They want a wind advantage going the other way. That is the end of the 3rd quarter. Carolina still looking for their first points of the night. The Monday Night Spectacular been spectacular for 1 so far. Charleston leads Carolina 17-0. We'll be right back.
Presentation of the Simulation Football League is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or account of the game without the express written consent of the league office is prohibited.
Start of the 4th quarter. Yeah, go ahead, Charles.
I'm sorry. Do you think that Curtis did that in one take?
He says he did. I believe him.
It's amazing. He's got skills.
He does. Ron Haynes, Rochelle Colston, Ike McBride, Chris Curtis, Tyler Falk, Charles Doherty, Cameron Irvine. In our stats truck and studio and here in the broadcast booth, your full Monday Night Spectacular crew. The game has been a little sleepy, Charles, but Charleston will take it. They're on their way to their 3rd win in a row right now, unless something changes.
And I don't know how they got 2 yards out of that play. It didn't look like it, but hey.
Second and 8. Ball at the Charleston 30. South to Curtis, down to the 11-yard line, and Carolina continues to move the football.
Yeah, both of these quarterbacks have thrown some passes like right in the bread box. No margin for error on that route.
9 plays on the current drive for Carolina. They had a 10.
It whizzed right by the defender's ear.
Yeah, it was tight. Previous long tonight for Carolina, they had a 10-play drive that only went for 32 yards. They had to punt the ball away. That was in the first half. 1st and 10. 9 minutes. South. Pass over the middle. Caught. DeSantis down to the 6. 2nd and 4.
Big drive for Carolina.
Now 70 yards on the drive. Previously, that 10-play, 32-yard drive was their longest of the night. They put it all together. Got to get 7 here, otherwise it'll feel like a Charleston win. Handoff McBride. McBride, touchdown! Untouched. Carolina's on the board.
They've shown on that outside run that they're able to make some positive yardage on it, and they used it on that last series to perfection. We would say at the beginning of the half, Carolina needed to show us something, and they did on that drive.
What a diva. McBride scores, and Curtis says, no, go to that block I had, totally away from the play, on the total opposite side of the field. Show me instead. What a monster.
Cam, you're just scratching the surface with diva.
Scratching the surface. What else don't I know about this situation?
I mean, just diva. As a part of my family, I know I have some secrets on her.
No, not Ike. Ike's not the diva. Curtis is the diva.
Well, they both are. Let's just do 2 birds with 1 stone.
Oh, man. I didn't even try to get you in trouble. You got yourself in trouble.
It's all right. I'm always in trouble.
8:30 to go in the 4th. Francis gets it up to 27. Carolina avoids their first shutout since season 12. The Skyhawks have only been shut out once in 245 SFL games. They were blanked by Mexico City 45-0 back in season 12. That's it.
Ouch. Yeah, that hurts. I've been on that end of a beating. It's not good.
8:30 left. Carolina right back in it. That would be one heck of a 4th quarter comeback. Storm is dropped in the backfield. Danny Stinson, that is the first negative play for Charleston's offense tonight.
And I think that sustained drive by Carolina did wonders for the defense of Carolina. They're out there with all their cylinders firing so far.
Lakeman, clean pocket again. Down the field, what a throw! Solomon down the sideline past midfield. One of the best throws of the night for John.
Yeah, that was a good pass, and it just flew in the face of everything I said on the previous play.
That's 5 out of his last 6 for Lakeman. Now 7 of his last 10. 7:50 to go in the 4th. Despite the 2 interceptions, including the one early in the 3rd quarter, Lakeman's QBR now hovering just below 70. Lakeman's pass caught again. Reed wrapped up by Hatley immediately, but what an answer so far for Charleston, staying aggressive.
Yeah, and again, I've said it a million times, that offensive line is just plain superb.
They're my MVP tonight, Charles. I mean, there's no question about it.
I don't think Lakeman's been touched tonight.
No. I mean, not even
didn't even get a smell of a defensive lineman yet.
I don't think there's been any quarterback hits. I don't think there's been any quarterback hurries. Just nothing. Storm, not going to get much there. A couple of Skyhawks there to wrap them up. Right now, Carolina's biggest enemy is time. They've got to get the ball back.
Definitely got to get the ball back. I mean, Charleston has shown an ability for long, sustained drives and eating up that clock.
Hoagland's fresh, 9 for 49. 2nd and 8. Warner goes in motion. Reed nearly at 100 yards in back-to-back games now. Warner's got 83. Handoff, Hoagland up the middle all night, 3rd and 4.
Yep, I believe they're in field goal range as well, Cam.
Yep.
So, I think Vegas odds should have them running it on this play, but they're probably going to go in the end zone based on my track record. And
Lakeman throws again, clean pocket, Reed all the way across the field. That's a difficult throw.
And it seemed like it went in slow motion, but that was another well delivered pass by Lakeman. I mean, his accuracy tonight is just incredible.
Carolina's longest play tonight is 19 yards. They have not had any explosive ability tonight, which they're going to need some in the last 6 minutes. They got to get this ball back. That pass caught by Adobe, his first catch of the night. 2nd and 3. That clock continues to tick away.
I am trying to figure out when I saw an offensive line play as well as Charleston has tonight.
That's a good point, Charles. I can't. It's amazing. Second and 3. Hoagland, look at the lanes. Hoagland down to the 3-yard line.
Just that little shuffle right before the yard marker was enough to add an additional 8 yards to that run. He's been doing it all night. Just one little, little stutter step, and he's able to fake out the defender and keep running.
I mean, Charles, Brad Taylor Wright was 6 yards down the field before he even had anybody to block.
Wow.
1st and goal at the 3.5. Charleston's offense for the 2nd straight week in the second half is money. Saren Storm matches his number on his jersey, his 2nd touchdown of the night, and Charleston strikes back.
Yeah, that's tough. That's a tough drive to overcome for Carolina. I mean, they're looking at, what are we looking at, 3 scores now?
Well, Charleston scores a 16-play, 82-yard drive. Carolina comes back with an 11-play, 77-yard drive, and Charleston hits them in the mouth with a 9-play, 72-yard drive. Just what an answer. Last week, Charleston scored touchdowns on 3 of their 4 drives in the second half after having no points in the first half. And now here they are again in the second half this week, back-to-back touchdown drives.
I think you might have already said this. I apologize, but they burned almost 4 minutes off the clock.
I didn't say that, but I mean, you're right. 5.5 minutes and then 3.5 minutes. 9 minutes in their last 2 drives just melted away. Off the time here. Pretty impressive.
Well, now's the time. Carolina's got to go aggressive. I mean, they probably should have earlier in the quarter, but I think the running game, you can't rely too much on the running game at this point.
19 runs, 19 passes for this offense, but they just have not been on the field much. Haven't found anything deep down the field. Everything for South has been short like that. Pick up a 5. Charleston will go no huddle, and I feel for our stat team. This could be a long drive. South rolls out and incomplete. Stamengo with the deflection, looking for DeSantis.
That was the rollout I was asking for earlier,
Yep.
Cam.
Your message got there by telegram.
But yep.
3rd down and 5. South to throw. South incomplete. Thought it had a chance. Curtis was in real tight coverage. I think you got to go for this.
You do, but I mean, on that play, Charleston looks like they sent in 3 defenders on a blitz, and they couldn't find an open man.
They have really been pressuring South much more in the second half than they did in the first. Need the 30 for a first down. Curtis goes in motion. Crowd chanting defense. South's pass is tipped away and incomplete.
Well, they're not sitting back on their heels. I mean,
nope.
Charleston's bringing it every play.
Carolina not handling it well. The secondary all over these, I mean, that's 3 routes in very similar areas, Charles. And when you don't have time to throw the football and let those routes develop, you're just throwing into a crowd and praying.
Yeah, especially when they're showing man. It's just a mosh pit on that side of the field.
If Charleston wins by this margin or more, it'll be their 3rd straight win over Carolina by 17 points or more. They are owning this rivalry right now as Nick Hoagland gets 6.
Holy smokes. That was I think that was Stamango. That's not Stamango, excuse me. Wrong team. I think that was Skippy Curtis that saved that run.
Got to give props to J.W. Hartshorn. Man, tough way to start the season. All those close losses. The new head coach in Charleston just keeping it together over the last month or so. And the Predators coming on strong, being the team that they thought they could be, that they built in this offseason as Saren Storm gets a first down to the 12.
It may be also a point, Cam, where the offensive line is starting to hit their stride from a progression standpoint. I mean, they're only going to get better, but man, tonight it is stellar. I've been saying it all night.
$128 rushing yards, averaging nearly 6 yards a play, 23 first downs. Anytime you're over 20 first downs, it's pretty much an accomplishment, and they still got more to go. 3:26 to go as they bleed more time off the clock. Handoff Hoagland. Hoagland pushing down to the 7.
Every play, he's adding like 2 or 3 to the end of it. Just when you think he's stood up and going down in the dirt, he just keeps churning and adds more.
76 yards on 13 carries for Hoagland tonight. Almost 6 yards a carry.
I mean, they haven't had an answer for that run and attack on the Carolina side.
Skyhawks staring 2-5 in the face, but as we mentioned earlier, 4 straight games against teams with losing records coming up. They could get hot down the stretch of the season, but they're going to have to put wins together quick. Handoff goes to Saren Storm trying to get outside. Davison Joseph wraps him up, and Charleston will have to snap it one more time, I think, before the 2-minute warning.
I'm afraid to say what play I think they should run. But I would run it on this one.
Yeah. I mean, you got a 50-50 shot at that type of...
Maybe a screen.
Now, that Francis screen, that could have worked earlier tonight. Just couldn't get it to execute. They need the 3.5. They snap it. Blakeman hands it off, and Hoagland not going to get there. Mojo McLean with the stop, so Charleston will have to kick a field goal, but we have reached the 2-minute warning. 27-7, or 24-7 rather, with a field goal pending. You're watching the Monday Night Spectacular on SFL YouTube. APM Music is unrivaled music. Bring your stories to life, inspiring every production with the world's most robust and constantly refreshed music collection, state-of-the-art technology, and world-class customer service. APM Music is the official soundtrack of the SFL. To explore their library and find your perfect tracks for your projects, visit apmmusic.com. Brett Schitt's field goal is good. 27-7 now. The Predators lead by 20. Next week, Charles, we are headed to San Antonio, where Alamo City will host Arizona. The 3-4 Artillery and the 4-3 Scorpions, both coming off of wins. That is going to be a good one.
That is going to be a good one.
Did you see that Sean Moore interception, Charles, in pregame for Arizona?
No, I did not. No,
if you haven't seen it, you guys got to go watch on the highlights on YouTube. Baltimore, Arizona, one of the best plays of the year. So can't wait to see Sean Moore in action. Next week starts on Friday night. Got Minnesota, who's won 6 in a row. They're headed to Denver. And Motor City, who's won 2 of their last 3. They're headed to Baltimore. Boy, if Baltimore lost that game, that would be quite the shock, because Baltimore's has never lost more than 4 games in a regular season. But they lost to Motor City last year. That pass is caught by Bachgalupi to the 36-yard line, and Carolina will burn their first time out.
I think at this point, if Carolina could just put something on the board, you don't want to come out with a goose egg.
Houston comes to Charleston next week, and if I was the Headhunters, I wouldn't want to come in this building to play. 3 in a row for Charleston, 2 here at home at Robert Smalls Memorial. That pass is intercepted, and it's being brought back. That could go all the way, and it will. Mark Martin, touchdown Charleston. Now they're pouring it on. It would be the largest margin of victory in Corbin Cup history if it stood now.
Wow. Yeah, that was extremely unfortunate for Carolina. I mean, that just threw it right to the defender. There wasn't anyone around to touch him.
It's Mark Martin's 2nd career pick 6. Congratulations, Mark. And the 2nd pick 6 of Charleston's season. Adam Nold had one, if you remember, Charles, back in week 1. It's the first score of the season, the pick 6 against Florida. That gave Charleston an early advantage. Hadn't had one since, got one there, and this has turned into a rout.
Yep, definitely. It's one of those games you just throw away. I mean, I wouldn't even look at the tape. I would just move on.
Some other big games next week. Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern. Fort Worth at San Diego. It's going to be a critical game. Carolina heads to Portland next week. The Fleet have won 2 straight. Don't sleep on Portland. Sunday, 6:30, D.C. at Seattle. Boy, the Nemesis need a bounce back in a big way. D.C. coming off a bye. The nightcap
It's
Sunday
tough
night.
facing D.C. off a bye.
Yeah, for sure.
I wonder what their record is off a bye.
Ooh, that's a good stat, Charles. We should ask Mike Daggs to figure out how to.
Oh no! Now I'm on. Now we have to answer the Dags.
That's a good one. Mexico City, Atlanta in the nightcap. 3-4 versus 4-3 Sunday night at 9:15 p.m. Eastern. That'd be a good one too from the Hive.
Any big announcements coming out this week, Cam?
Convention, baby. Got to get that thing.
Say again.
Convention. Got to get that thing wrapped up and
Okay.
put out. Looking forward to it. South to throw. Downfield, caught by Earl. And they burn their last time out. They'll be in no huddle for the duration. Trying to get some more points on the board, make this look a little better.
The stats team's favorite part of the game.
Definitely not Ike's tonight. Although it wasn't on her. 44 rushing yards, not terrible. But Carolina's offense just not really on the field. And just couldn't get anything explosive going in the pass game. 19 yards, still the longest play of the night for Carolina, as Quintero was the intended target. Now 1 catch on 6 grabs. An underrated storyline in this game, Charles, considering he's top 10 in the league in receptions. Charleston's been all over him tonight.
Yeah, the whole defense has. But to your comment earlier, I think you need to put some culpability on Ike, just because this is the only time the two of us were in the booth together.
You want me to throw another shovel down there for you while you keep digging? That pass incomplete. South over through Quintero, who got pulled down at the end of the play. 1:21 left. 3rd and 10. Charleston's going to cover, and that pick 6 hit the over tonight, Charles. So pass caught. Chris Curtis. Wow.
Holy smokes.
Tough grab. He was the only one beyond the first down marker, so 110 and ticking.
I think he's done that before.
Yep. Throws down to Chase Earl. 3rd catch. 1 minute left. South. Down the field. Incomplete. Stemengo breaks it up. 3rd and 6. Charles, we sticking with Charleston's offensive line? Player of the game.
I am. I mean, that was a dominant performance by that offensive line. It's it's great. They have 5 contract players. What a luxury.
Yeah. And, you know, I'm not going to say that Charleston or that Carolina came out flat tonight, Charles, but I will say they came out flat-footed, right? That Charleston offensive line was the most ready unit tonight, and Carolina's front 7 just didn't seem to meet the challenge today, as Sal's talking it over with Kay Palmer about what's going on down the field. Tristan, you're on the wrong bench. That has got to be the most Tristan thing I've ever seen in SFL history.
Security is on their way over there right now.
That was amazing. Oh, man. In a blowout with nothing much more to talk about, Tristan Hatley goes over to Charleston's sideline, finds the camera right before he goes out on the field to defend these victory formations, as Curtis can't come up with the 4th down stop. What'd you say?
He stole some of their Gatorade.
That is funny. That is really funny.
In
a night
that picture's going to pop up again.
In a night that Carolina would otherwise want to forget, you can always count on Tristan to be a jokester, and that was just perfect. Victory formation. What a performance for Charleston. The largest margin of victory in Corbin Cup history, 34-7. The Predators have won 3 in a row. They got Houston and Fort Worth next. I would not want to face these guys right now.
Yeah, I mean, but they've got some positives, though, that they can build on, clearly. I think Houston is going to be worrying about how to get past that offensive line.
That is going to be a good game next week, Charleston and Houston. That is March 9th, Saturday, 6:45 p.m. Eastern. That is going to be one to watch. One more kneel down for Lakeman. A strong night for Charleston. Charles, I don't think you and I have much left to say. You got any final thoughts?
I mean, a good offensive line can cure a lot of ills. I mean, if you have one thing that's consistent and reliable in your game, that's probably what you want to have. And it showed on the field. I mean, Charleston, I think this is probably their best game of the season.
Yeah, I would agree with you, Charles. The Preds win 34-7. We'll get one look at the final stats for you. 405 on offense, 24 first downs for Charleston, and they score again 3 touchdowns in the second half, just like they did last week. Chris Curtis, Tyler Falk, gonna wrap things up from SFL Studios. Take it away, gentlemen.
Chris Curtis, Tyler Falk in the SFL postgame presented by APM Music, and a somber Carolina Skyhawks waving the white flag. As it is what it is. It's unfortunate.
Curtis.
It is unfortunate. We went down to the Predators of the Corbin Cups, going to South Carolina again. Tyler, break it down for me. Struggles on offense for Carolina was really a big part of that.
Yeah, and this one, one of the lowest scoring Corbin Cups for Carolina. They can hold their head high. They did score more than 6 points, which is their lowest for a Corbin Cup net meeting between these two clubs. But it was, as Charles mentioned, as Cam mentioned, this offensive line for Charleston, which was so dominant, which created holes for Storm and Hoagland. And Hoagland doing extra stuff after the hit, after the initial contact, really punching his way forward and smashing Carolina's battered defense further and further down the field, leading to a larger score. And unfortunately, the offense just didn't pick up enough. Carolina did come away with a touchdown in the third quarter, but it just wasn't enough. They weren't able to add a second one on. They weren't able to really just be cohesive. They were able to drive on occasion, but it would just stall out. They don't have the answer. They don't have the third down answer, especially when it counts. And so, unfortunately, Carolina falls, and the Preds move on.
Yeah, Preds could have taken, like on those snaps that Lakeman had all the time in the world, he could have taken a 4-year degree in the time he had to throw that football. And you give a quarterback in the SFL that much time, average or not, they're going to be able to burn you more often than not. Not saying anything shady about Lakeman there, but the next couple of games are going to say a lot about this Charleston team, though, Tyler. You got Houston and Fort Worth, as we've mentioned, a couple of high-powered teams that are going to be going up against these Predators, and it's really going to be measuring stick time for those Predators to see where they sit in the overall, pecking order of the SFL. They're going to be able to make the playoffs. I think these next two games that they have are going to say a lot about those chances.
And I think this first one versus Houston at home, after Houston is reeling after the loss to Canton, do they overcommit to something they were lacking in the Canton game and really give Charleston a little bit of insight into what they're trying to do or what they might try and focus on? So Charleston, I think, has a really good shot this upcoming week versus Houston. And if they are to come away with a result against Houston, just how much more confidence does this club will have potentially with the win versus Houston, going to Fort Worth and playing again another tough team, and another team in that Tex-Mex division, which both Houston and Fort Worth are going to give Charleston fits. If they are a true contender, they have to play like they did tonight.
That Tex-Mex division, one of the toughest physical divisions in the SFL. On the other side, Carolina, I think it's safe to say that every game right now is a playoff game for them. It is sitting at 2-5. They, 7 wins is typically your magic number to at least have a 80%, 90% shot at the playoffs getting in. They can't afford any more losses if they want to hit that now.
And the next 4 opponents for them, are all below 500 at the moment, sitting right where they are. Does the Skyhawks turn things around? Do they have an answer? And can they figure out their woes on offense? And they're going to need to do it. This is crunch time for Carolina. And one miss-up, I think any miss-up, is a death sentence for the Skyhawks this season.
We'll see what happens. Week 9 just around the corner. We are on the other side of the halfway point of this regular season in season 22. And for Tyler Falk, I am Chris Curtis saying goodbye and good night from SFL HQ. We will see you guys in just a little bit of time, headed towards the last part of this regular season. Have a good night, everybody.